And this again. This is Nikki Jacobs. Welcome to Restore Belief. Got shut down. That's always fun. Yeah. Anyhow, little pissed off at the moment, to say the least. Hello, whoever is here. Appreciate you coming in. Welcome. And they're out. Okay, so hopefully this is going through. Apparently it looks like it is. We shall see. Okay. Love it when that happens. Hello. Hope you're here. Welcome to Restore Belief. I'm Nikki Jacobs. Got shut down a moment ago. So hopefully, I'm going to see if this works. Hang on with me, folks. Let me see if I can get this even. Make sure this is actually going. I'm a little pissed at the moment. And I got to be careful with my anger level because, yeah. Not okay about being shut down, but gee, fancy that. They don't want me talking about how I ended up with being well. I have immune compromise. I was talking about a conference that I went to last night, and it was about products. And was explaining about what ended up taking place during 2020, and when I had a specific illness, like most people ended up with, and how the person I lived with had it worse than I did. And hello. Let me know, please, that you can actually see and hear me in the chat. Please let me know in the chat if you can see and hear me. Because apparently I was talking for 28 minutes and then I got shut down. Funny how that happens. Anyway, so I was talking about how all normal. Good. Thank you, Amy. I appreciate that. I was talking about how I went to this conference last night. There were 30 to 40 people of us there. And it was really good information. It was about a gentleman who had done radio for many years. He was in the nutrition industry. And I had listened to him since somewhere around 92, 93. And around 94, my naturopath recommended a couple of different products that I'd never heard of before. And so I was talking about in the last bit of information that obviously will never see the light of day now. I don't know what YouTube's done to it. Anyway, So this gentleman got into vitamins and was essentially a manufacturer for vitamins. He was a rep, and you can hear him on Washington State radio, but I it's been so long I don't remember what radio station. AM radio, I believe. Anyway, and I talked about this product. As always, do your own research. Let's see, put this up here. So, and they used to have a product called, hello, whoever joined, they used to have a product called Life Cal Meg. And back in the day, in the 90s, I was taking it, and there were a number of other products that I've taken of theirs, and I love them to pieces. They are quality. And that's the thing that I was talking about, was that there are companies who have sold out, big name, that have become big name manufacturers in vitamins and supplements and stuff, and they've sold out. They sold their companies to conglomerates. And it's interesting because a little while ago, earlier today, I came across a mini video about how somebody called it, oh shit, green, not green manufacturing, green, shit, I gotta go look. Anyway, it's where they, hey Joe. Yeah, no. Nope, nope, nope. Anyway, no. Oh my god, no. Anyway, trying to find the name of it, because it is important. It's everybody making it out to be that the green way, greenwashing, that's what she called it, greenwashing. How a lot of companies have sold out, and how they are everything's green this and green that, and yet the company itself has been, once green company it's been sold out to a conglomerate. So you have to be very, very careful. Well, this company has not sold out. They've got integrity. And so I was talking about that, and I was talking about how so on days like today, I was having a really difficult time. Very difficult time. I did not feel good this morning, or late this morning. Couldn't get with it, and I went, I've got to get up. I've got to get moving. And my point about all of that was taking the negative and turning it to positive. So whether I couldn't do the shower today, I had a shower yesterday. I couldn't do the shower thing today. So I was like, okay, so wash the face, do the deodorant, get changed, put the girls in a bra, and get dressed. And I've got my different vitamin supplements, and it started making me realize this is kind of a big deal. We need to have a conversation about changing the negative and taking care of yourself. If you've got negative, like you're in body pain and you're not doing well, you've got to find the ways to deal with and take care of you. It's kind of a big deal. You're a big deal. You're wanted on this planet. Good grief, Nikki. And and me not being able to speak comes from the issues that I was having last night. I was in a great deal of of tailbone pain. I held out for 40 minutes sitting in a hotel chair, and oh my God, 20 minutes was bad enough. So my point is that even if you're not feeling okay, change the parameter, change the narrative, turn it from that negative into a positive. Am I feeling better right now? Yeah. Are my vitamins kicked in? Yes and no. I have the things around me that I need. That's important. Maintain that stuff. It's really important. One of the things that I talked about regarding this vitamin stuff is during 2020, when I had gotten sick, like everybody, or most everybody, we had a phone call. Now, hopefully, I don't get shut down again for talking about this again. Let me know if you're still in chat, please. But one of the things that was talked about last night, so let me know if you're still in chat or if you're still listening, because last time I got shut down for talking about this. I didn't talk about this entire thing, but anyway, so last night in the conference meeting, a gentleman was asking the speaker, he had talked about breathing techniques and that he had commented on the fact that he had been taught by a hardcore professional. Okay, hang on a minute, 1 second. Okay. So he had talked to this hardcore professional and had been trained in how to breathe. And one of the things that I had mentioned, hey, thank you, Amy. I just really wanted to know if folks were still listening, being able to hear me. Because last time I got shut down right about now, right about this moment. Anyway, so talked about breathing techniques. And one of the things that I had that worked for me was that I had been a flute player since, I was going to say grade school, but junior high through high school, or most of high school. And those breathing techniques, you learn to breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. This gentleman was asking the speaker if what were the kind of breathing techniques, and the speaker was trying to give him some information. And for whatever reason, this gentleman was having a hard time grasping some of it. And I asked the speaker, I said, may I interject something? And he said, yeah, go for it. And I said, you talked about that you're a shallow breather. It takes time to open up your lungs. When you go from shallow breathing into deep breathing on a regular basis, there's a duration of time that takes. And it's really important. And it's literally training every day. But the key factors are starting to do it in through the nose, out through the mouth. Breathe in, exhale out through the mouth. It's a really big deal. And get that down, and then start taking in deep breaths of air and filling your lungs to expansion. And then releasing that, exhaling that out of the mouth. And when you fill to capacity, you start training your lungs. And this is what I learned. And this is what I was telling this gentleman. And he's like, oh, that actually makes sense. Or however he worded it. And it was, and that's where a lot of the problem is with a lot of folks. Being a mouth breather, Amy says, I'm mostly a mouth breather. That's where a lot of folks are, and they do shallow breathing because of it. And if you start expanding the lungs more and more, you open them up more and more. And one of the things that I had a certain agency, and I think that's one of the reasons why I got nailed and shut down, was because I mentioned through 2 different agencies. So the person that I live with, their doctor called it in because, hello, it was in 2020, and that's what doctors were required to do. Mine also called it in. And so I didn't have that agency that starts with the letter C and ends with the letter C, 3-letter agency call. And they called a few times. And he was like, they want to talk to you. And because, hello, I'm a large woman. I have previous medical history of medical issues. And he did too, but not like me, where I'm immunocompromised or whatever. And they couldn't figure out. So that agency and the local county had called, and they were wanting to know, how is it the two of you have the same damn thing? He's worse off than you. And I'm like, I don't know. All I know is that I do deep breathing every day. And here we go. I'm hoping I don't get nailed again. Because it's right about this point, just talking about this was when I got effing nailed. Anyway, so it really was a big deal. We had 6 phone calls, and I was so out of it at the time, but at the same time, I still remember the phone calls, even with 100, God, it was 102 temp and all this other stuff. So, I mean, both really, really sick. But the key factor was I had been a flute player and a meditator who did extensive deep breathing for over 40 years. That's a big difference. And so I kind of explained that only in a much shorter nutshell to this gentleman who was asking the speaker questions. And he was like, that actually makes sense. And I said, if you expand your lungs and you slowly work on it every day, just there are steps to it. And one of the things was not being a mouth breather. And I'm a CPAP user. I have sleep apnea, although it's nowhere near as severe because of ETs and all that stuff, but because they've they've done their own bit of surgery. That's a whole nother subject. But anyway, that's a completely different subject. But so because of them, it's nowhere near as severe. But because of dealing with a nose, not a full face mask, but a nose mask, I breathe through my nose instead of being a mouth breather at night. And that makes a difference too. It all comes down to what you train your body. So, unlike right now where I'm doing the exact opposite, but I also just did a really deep breath, which was kind of surprising to me. I almost hit, um, I described it before to where it's like when you take a really deep diaphragm breath, full diaphragm breath, it's like those lungs are sitting on your stomach. It That's what it feels like. And you can actually, when you get really proficient at this, that is what it feels like when you get a full amount of oxygen. One of the things that I learned with a dear friend of mine who's now deceased, who had COPD, and he was a hardcore smoker for, God, almost all of his life. It's not what killed him, though. What killed him was complications due to his diabetes. But hang on a minute. There we go. I can look like I'm taking breath through my mouth, but I'm actually shutting off using the back of my tongue and shutting off my mouth breathing so that, and that comes from playing flute, um, so that you're taking in air through your nose. Um, just talking about this gentleman that is now deceased is very upsetting to me. Anyway, um, one of the things that I taught him, sorry, this is hitting a little bit more than I expected. I taught him, because he was constantly coughing, and I taught him to open up his lungs more and expand his lungs. And it minimized, because he was doing that, it minimized his the amount that he coughed on a daily basis. And it just boggled his mind. I mean, it didn't stop what was going on with his lungs, but it definitely minimized. It proved to me, he was definitely proof to me that it makes a big difference between mouth breathing and nose breathing, and taking in air and getting that air, filling it into your lungs, and not being a shallow breather. A shallow breather, really, I think that's why everybody had such problems when they got sick. Because so many millions of people are mouth breathers. And if you are a singer, professional singer, if you are a wind instrument player, if you are a person who meditates on a regular basis, you have this concept and construct and understand what it feels like for years worth of what your lungs are supposed to feel like. And I knew when I got sick, with that shit, that I knew what my lungs were supposed to feel like, and when the shit was trying to settle, and it couldn't. I did end up with long COVID. I believe it was long COVID, because I had a goddamn little effing cell still stuck. It was stuck in one of my lungs, but because I thought I'd gotten it all up, but I still had this one rattle, and I finally got rid of that GD effing rattle a few weeks ago, and then I got really sick again. But um, I got rid of it finally, and a lot of that had to do with my deep breathing, and I basically rattled it out of there. It was the weirdest effing pop I'd ever heard. When it popped and it released, and I tasted it, and I was like, that's what that is. I knew exactly what it was. So I took all my things that I needed to, and took really good care of myself. And um, so then I don't think it's safe for me yet to No, I'm not going to say that. Anyway, so okay, I do both. I do both. When I do mouth breathing, I do the deep breath. It's, but I typically am breathing in through the mouth, exhaling out through. Yeah, I'm pointing at the nose. See, I'm getting tired. Breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. Change your paradigm. If you're a shallow breather, learn to become and open up and expand your lungs on a daily basis. Hey, Christopher, I'm really glad to see you here, sweetie. Appreciate you coming in. So the other thing I wanted to talk about, so changing, today's kind of all about changing the paradigm. Excuse me, glad to see you too, dear boy. Just called you dear boy. You're not a boy. You're a man. I'm sorry, sweetie. I still think of you as my little brother. Anyway, so just be aware that you can change things in your life, even on a daily basis. The thing with the breathing is to do it every day. Get your body, start training your body in breathing in and exhaling out. And obviously not doing that around people, so you don't, if you do have a cold or something like that, you don't get anybody sick. But my point is do your out, breathe in and out. When you consistently do that and you train that section of your body to do it, then start training, do the once you get that, like I said, this is a process. This doesn't happen. There is no instant gratification here, folks. Don't try to do that. Every change that one makes in one's life, it's a process to make lasting, lifelong, positive changes in one's life. Everything takes steps. It's a process. Get out of your head that there's a quick fix. Bullshit. There's not. Everything is a process. How long can you maintain your process? This is something that I had to because I was playing flute. Okay? So, playing flute every single day, you were forced to learn to breathe a very specific way. It's not playing what they call a recorder, which is, I mean, you can, but it's not, it's literally putting something, okay, this is going to be, it's literally putting something in your mouth and you're blowing out that way. Completely different than playing flute where you're doing that kind of thing. So, and that's my point. I was trying not to do the finger so that, don't create issues. Anyway, yes, Christopher, I agree. People with brainstem issues, a lot of the time have to learn breathing as babies to not depend on a ventilator. Yeah, exactly. Good for you, Christopher. see, that's kind of a big deal. I breathe through the nose even in sleep now. I've also been doing the breathing exercises I was taught as a kid. Yeah, hey, I when you're taught things as a child, you typically retain them. It's one of the reasons why, to almost this day, I will say when somebody says, uh, thank you for your service, I have a response in a different language. And it's automatic. And it's because I was taught that when I was in a different country. When I was visiting, and then I got stuck in a different country as a child. Um, and so I was with my mom. There's no worries there. Anyway, um, and so I have an instant reaction. I have had that since I was a child. It's just automatic for me. And it shocks me that anytime somebody comes back with the proper response to my response, it catches me so off guard. But yeah, it when you're taught things as a child, or preteen, adolescent, it can be quite impactful um, on a person. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about was I had talked about the fact that I have my mug, and yes, I had Eric Cooper make a statement to me. Oh, Nikki, where's all your Coca-Cola stuff you said that you have? Well, I told him I got rid of a lot of my Coca-Cola product things. And some of the things I have left are things like a mug. I have what, 4 mugs, and there's some of my favorites actually. And a fleece blanket that, and they're all things that a very, very dear friend of mine gave me. She's like, I got them at the thrift store. I'm like, I don't care, they're great. Um and then there are things that she did buy and gave me as what we would classify as gifts. And I'm like, oh, honey, they're all gifts because I appreciate it. But I did have to let go of a lot of things. And so the things that I have left really mean a lot to me. And so my mug is one of them. Little Coca-Cola. It's the old time Coca-Cola symbols. Anyway, so I don't know, is it the same on both sides? Yeah, it's the same on both sides. Anyhow, products. So when we were greenwashing, so one of the things that I had talked about in my previous video that got shut down was there is a government agency that starts with an F, ends with an A, and I pick up information from various different people and then research it extensively. And this one individual, she was a purchase manager for a company, product purchase manager for a company, and she was also a professional bodybuilder. Beautiful, beautiful woman. And you'd never know she was a bodybuilder. You'd never freaking know it. Anyway, not unless she came out and told you. And because of her, I found out that that agency allows very loosely fillers in their protein powder products. I was trying to figure out how to word this so I don't get shut down again. Really freaking pissed me off. Anyway, and because of her, I learned an extensive, unexpected, extensive amount of information about what's allowed in a lot of our vitamins and in a lot of our protein supplements, protein packages for uh, protein powder, various kinds of protein powder. I was horrified. And she taught me a lot. I cannot remember the lady's name. She phenomenal lady. I mean, she knew her stuff. And because she was a bodybuilder, um, and she knew all the ins and outs of what the government agencies allowed in and out of their products, in and out of the U.S. products, she was able to definitely tell me, look, stay away from these companies, this company, because they've got extensive fillers in them. And those fillers, they cause, especially in bariatrics, when you're dealing with bariatrics, you do not need a freaking filler. You need a hardcore. So I learned, because I learned an extensive amount from her. And I would love to be in contact with her again. She was just not only a great lady, really nice person to get to know. No, oh my God, the knowledge. Wow. She's like a database. And so, and that's the kind of thing where I used to be called the information lady, because I'd glean information from this doctor or that nurse, excuse me, or I'd glean information from this professional in this business or that professional in that business. I mean, it was just over the years worth of information, and you have to stay aware. And there's so much fake bullshit out there now. Be really conscious of what you're putting into your body. One of my biggest issues with this very significantly obese body is I've got PCOS, and that's polycystic ovarian syndrome. And I'm at the farthest end of the spectrum with that. There are no products that, I mean, it takes extremes, and it's hard to maintain those extremes. Very, very hard to maintain those extremes, which is why you see me going up and down in weight over the years in pictures, because I can maintain it, but I can maintain it for a couple of years, and then I can't maintain it because I can't get it into that lifestyle on a regular full length. It's just becomes overwhelming, and I mean really overwhelming. You're looking at a lot of vitamin supplements. You're looking at, so somebody else who has PCOS may not have that kind of experience. They may be at the low end or the middle end. That's where most individuals, most females are at with their PCOS. Now, as an ET abductee, here we go into a whole nother subject. When you're dealing as an ET abductee and you have PCOS, the ETs know how to screw with that. I was going to say metabolism. That's not what I mean. Hormones, and make it so that your body can be pregnant for them. Doesn't mean that you're going to be pregnant for you with a human baby, human and human. It ain't happening. It makes it very difficult. So regarding the ETs, there are, I believe, a lot more women who are ET abductees who have PCOS, and there are findings for that. There are professionals who are finding that their patients are PCOS, and I think that really needs to be talked about within the community, within the ufology community, and it's not being talked about, and that makes me want to just pound the living crap out of folks. I'm like, listen, this is the kind of shit that is going on with women's health. Women's health with ET abductees needs to be discussed. None of that is being discussed. Sorry, we hit a soapbox. Anyway, so you change the negatives to the positives. And that is, even like me, when I was talking earlier, when you're not feeling good, like I was late this morning, find the things, change the narrative, change the dynamics, change the negative to the positive. Do your deep breathing. Do the breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. You know, even if it means that you retain and you hold that breath farther than what your lungs are normally able to take in a breath, you stretch them. The more you start stretching them, the more you'll start getting to that deep breath, deeper diaphragm breathing. And here we go. Hang on a second, folks. There we go. Anyway, so those those are the things that I kind of wanted to talk about. It's just changing the dynamics, looking out for quality companies that are staying in business, that have integrity, that are maintaining their that finger hurts, maintaining their products. That is a huge deal, guys. You need to understand how big of a deal that is. Let's see if I can get you an address and a phone number. No. Somebody tell me if that's coming through. How close or how far away do I have to be? I don't know. Maybe something like that. Anyway, all right. So, anyway, check them out. They're a quality company. And for me to promote, that's a big freaking deal. If I find a product that I like, I'll talk about it. You guys already know that. Speaking of, I'm not getting up out of this chair because then I'll start squeaking and squealing because the tailbone's not going to be right. And I had plenty of that last night. I was in so much pain with my tailbone last night. Maybe if I have it near me next time, I will promote this wonderful massager. It's only about yay big. It looks like a T, a long top and a short T. Phenomenal massager that my chiropractor recommended, and I highly recommend this massager. And I've gone through a shit ton of massagers over the years for my back and my muscles in different ways, and this one really penetrates and heals. Now get a lot of good deep healing, deep tissue, deep muscle healing with it. Talk to your medical folks, you know. If you've got issues, obviously find out if you can even do that. Some people can't. It's not an option for them. it's a safety issue for them, so they're not able to. So definitely talk to your medical folks. As always, do your own research. On top of talking to your medical folks. Oh, the lighting's changed in here. That's fun. Yeah, you can see how pasty I am. God. And swollen. That's fun. Yeah. And lines. That's not normal. Anyhow, change your dynamics. Learn how to go from being a mouth breather to a nose breather and a deep lung breather. On that note, I hope you have a good, we're 45 minutes into it, 46 minutes into it. I hope you have a good morning, a good evening, and take really good care of yourself. Even when you're not feeling up to it, find little things to make your life positive. Even if it's a hand soap, bar of hand soap. Hey, it may be $6 a bar. Ouch. But if you use it, you use your regular soap and you just need a burst of really good scent to perk your brain up, that might be an option for you. I know some people who have all different sorts of things. I'm one of them. I've got all different sorts of things around that help to perk me up. So when I'm having a rough day. Anyway, I hope you take very good care of yourself. And remember, try to do some of the deep breathing. Learn how to do it. See if you can continue on with maintaining it. That was the word I was looking for. Maintaining for lifelong is a big deal. It's hard to do. There are a lot of really difficult things to do. But if you're sitting in a car, you're rushing. I was being shown in the previous video, I was literally had a psychic hit where I was being shown a gentleman rushing from like a downtown building to I don't know where the hell he was going, but it was rush, rush, rush. Everything was, oh, gotta go here, gotta do this, that. If you're like that, I used to be like that. If you're like that, when you get into the car, lock the car. Instead of starting the car, putting the keys in the ignition, hitting the start button or whatever kind of car you got, stop. Force yourself to stop. Force yourself to take a nice, deep, cleansing breath. And in through the nose and out through the mouth. It makes a difference. Because when you're doing that, you're releasing all of that stress that you just came from. And now it's a matter of, okay, let's get out into the traffic. Let's get over to this area. Let's get to the next location, wherever it is you're going. And it's not a rush. You're getting there safe, sound, alive, and well. That's a big deal, folks. It's a really big deal. So, and something just popped into my head. There was something I read in the last few days that I was just about to get off of here and say adios. And apparently, hello, beep, beep. That's not a doable thing right now. There was something I read a few days ago, and it was about a young married couple, and they had a fight. Typical whatever fight. And went to bed, and they didn't talk about anything in the morning. He went to work. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. Things happen. Make things right. If you've got an argument with somebody and you love and care about them, work on it. It's not guaranteed when you're going to say your last things. Do you want it to be a fight? It's not fun, because that can really play and wreak havoc on the memory and on the psyche of the one who's left behind living this life after that person passes. So, it makes a difference. Make sure that if you've got something to say, you talk it out. You can be mad, take a break from it, but get back and talk it through. It's kind of a really big deal, folks. I can tell you more times than not that where people have said, well, they died the following day and I never got to tell them I'm sorry, or that we could work it out, or that this, I would have loved to have been able to even have finished the conversation. So yeah, think about that. Don't just assume you've got, oh, tomorrow I can talk about it with them tomorrow. Do you? Do you know what's going to come tomorrow? Not even I know. Just because I'm a psychic medium, it doesn't work like that. There are certain aspects that, yeah, you get bits and pieces, but seriously, in day-to-day, daily life, take time to work out the issues, folks. It makes a difference. Truly, it does. One of my grandmothers and I, we never got to work things out. Never got to work things out. And it wasn't until she was dead 15, 16, 17 years that I worked things out with her. But it was only because I'm a psychic medium that I got the opportunity to do that. It took me that long because I was still so angry with her. Still such the bullshit. Yeah. So I had that opportunity, but not everybody does. Not everybody does. So take the time. Work things through, folks. Okay? And as Amy says, the gotta rush here or there, folks, yeah, they almost scare me. Yeah, I don't blame you, Amy. I mean, if they're run, rush, it makes things really, really tough. So take the time, do your deep breathing. Make sure that if you are rushing, you stop and you take that deep breath of air and fill the lungs. Get it to where it's like really tight on the lungs, and then let it out. Exhale it out. And when you let it out, you release it. Release that tension from your body. You're also getting great blood flow with great oxygen to the brain. So, hey, that always helps. Anyway, take good care of yourself. Remember to change the paradigm, change the negatives to the positive, even if you're having a rough day. Take good care, folks. On that note, bye-bye.